Oh,
Today I'm going to be talking to comedian, actor, and podcaster, Young Daddy himself, Lev Fer.
Hey, what's up?
Just trying to figure out how I keep messing up very basic things. How are you doing?
I'm great. I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever told you, but you're one of my favorite people in comedy.
What?
Yeah, you're very funny and you work hard and you always have a great energy. You have like no pretension to you.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's true. I have good energy, but I feel like I get like frustrated a lot. But maybe that doesn't come through when I'm like in passing by.
Yeah, no, I think the only negative about you is that you insist on saying China virus instead of corona.
Yeah, right. Besides your blatant racism, pretty good.
What do you get frustrated with?
I guess I just feel like I have a short fuse, like when it's stuff with myself, like even with like turning the AC on and off, it's a pretty easy thing to do. But every time I've been doing it, I get caught up in one thing, and instead of being, oh, I gotta do this, I start going, I fucking hate this thing.
It's like, it's rare to find people who are funny that like actually apply themselves.
What's up with that?
Some of the funniest people I know stopped doing comedy. I would say the vast majority of people I started with it like never really got past doing open mic. But I think a lot of them too, like, because I remember when I was starting out, I always had like really good stage presence, but my material was horrendous.
Totally relate to that.
I had the worst like material. I was like just like my awful material, but it looked like I knew how to be on a stage.
Looking back, it feels even more brutal because then people don't necessarily know that you're new to it.
Yeah,
they're just like, that person sucks.
Yeah, that person, like I'd be hearing like all the time. I'd be like a year into comedy, and I'd hear this guy said you fucking suck, and I'm like, I'm a year in. Like, what the fuck do you want? It takes 20 years. I loved stand up more than anything. Like ever since I was like 5, it was just all I cared about was comedy, and really comedy was like the protector in my life. I was a very anxious, like always afraid kid. So that was like the one thing that made me feel good and like okay when I was home.
Crazy that something that made you feel okay and good was something that is like so scary too. When I saw that picture of you when you were a chubby kid, I couldn't believe it.
Why?
Because I guess it's like when you see someone, but the same thing when I say that I was an overweight kid, people will be like, oh, they won't believe. They'll be like, really? Let me see a picture. They want proof or whatever.
Well, that's because you're like hot now. You got like.
Thanks, Lev.
Yeah,
likewise.
You wear hoodies and cool hair and shit, you know.
Trying.
But I think honestly, having been a chubby kid and then becoming good looking is such a great experience to your life. It ruins your childhood, but at the same time, it's like you really see how people treat each other differently based on how you look.
Amen. When did you start being chubby? Like, were you just chubby like straight through, or were you not chubby and then got chubby?
I think my rock bottom was like 3rd grade. It was like
3rd grade, stressed out.
I remember being a 3rd grader and looking at my gut in the mirror and thinking, this is not how this is supposed to go. And being like, I should go on a diet. Like, that was my 3rd grade thought. And then it just got worse from there. Cause like I didn't want to eat anything at home. My like from high school on, my general diet was I would wake up, I would like heat up some like fucking frozen, go to school, go off campus for lunch, eat like 4,000 calories worth of McDonald's, come home, eat another fucking 3 trays of frozen food, wait for my mom to bring Wendy's or like some crazy fast food.
Were you alone a lot as a kid?
Yeah. From like 13 on, I was like alone. And I was also, now that you're saying that, I'm starting to realize, I think the reason I always ate was this anxiety of just like distraction and wanting to feel okay. Because I had a neighbor who scared the shit out of me, and every day I was worried he was going to break in.
Scared it like he's going to rob you or he's going to touch you?
His house is the same size as ours, so I wasn't worried about a robbery. He was just, I had like this war veteran who was like fucked in the head that lived next door. He was like gone.
So you were just eating to get away from that guy?
I think so. I think I was just like trying to become unfuckable.
Actually, I actually kind of relate to that too, because I wonder if I was eating because I was uncomfortable with the way my body was developing, because I knew I was gay, but I didn't necessarily know, but I knew I felt different. But also I just love food and I'm an addict. Did people make fun of you, or were you?
You know what it felt like? Because it felt like I would try to make fun of people to.
Oh, you were the bully.
Yeah, I think I would do it to kind of protect myself.
You apologize to anyone you made fun of?
It was never like that. I also, if I made fun of somebody and they got upset, like I would, that to me is like when I upset somebody, I immediately get really upset.
Absolutely.
Like, there was definitely some jokes that bombed. There were definitely some apologies. I had a lot of 2 a.m. Facebook message apologies in my childhood.
You have a brother. Was he overweight too?
I would say when he hit like 18, he got. Right now we're like kind of both the same size. We're both like, I'm never going to be jacked, never going to be in great shape. I just have a lower body that you just kind of have to deal with. You know what I mean?
That's the sales pitch for it. Yeah, you just kind of got to deal with it.
But a lot of times like straight women, like they don't give a shit. They're not as shallow. The moment that changed it for me was, I remember this one time I was hooking up with this girl, and this girl was like so gorgeous. And, like, I was laying in bed naked, like across the bed, like a fat, like rosy Titanic. Felt particularly fat. Like, you know, feel it. And you know that feeling of like, I shouldn't even invite somebody over because I feel so fucking fat.
Yep.
I could feel like my stomach and everything just like landsliding down while I was laying there, and I was just felt awful. And my tiny dick was just all flaccid and shriveled.
Yep.
And I'm looking at this girl and I feel so terrible. And she's just staring at me silently. And then after a long silence, she goes, "You have the perfect nose."
You're like, that's what you were thinking about?
Yeah, I'm in my head having like 3 strokes.
Right.
They'll find one thing that they like.
That eyelid of yours is majestical. You're like,
Yeah.
how'd you start losing the weight?
I think honestly, well, when I was like 16, that was the heaviest I ever weighed. I was like 280.
Which is a fucking tough time to be heavy. Because also, I mean, you were able to get girls before you lost the weight too.
Well, I kissed a girl at 18 and that was it. And then I like moved here. That was like the peak of my sexual career.
So when were you naked with the girl when you were big?
I mean, at one point I got into a relationship and I feel like I went back up to like 240 or something like that. Like it just wasn't working out. You know, you feel it. I skyrocket in weight super fast and I also drop weight super fast.
I was like that too at 23. And then around 26, then at 26, 27, when you start to do something, then it stays for longer.
Oh, really?
So beware, because I was like that too. Like I would be able to drink and eat whatever. And then if I gained weight, then I would just take my Adderall and be fine for like, and then I would like lose it right away. And then the tide turns. That's why it's good to like try to be as healthy as you can. Eye roll, obviously.
Like I don't ever care about like being jacked or anything, but it's just I feel like I almost like the way I look now, but in quarantine, I'd say that first month I probably gained a hot 12.
yeah, I was going off the rails with the sugar.
Sugar is your thing, right?
Or alcohol or Adderall, but I don't snort Adderall or.
I've never done Adderall, but like everybody around me does it.
Don't do it. If you don't, I mean, I have ADD. Do you have ADD or anything like that?
I think mine is like manageable. I've learned that this is just chaos at most hours of the day, so I just let it be. I just kind of lean into it.
And you didn't go to college, you went straight from high school to, what was the point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a comedian, I'm gonna go for it?
Well, so I started at 14 and then I knew I was like, I'm too young for this. Then I was like, all right, then I turned 16. I was like, what can I do? I was like, I should start rapping.
Oh my God. I wanted to be a music executive.
Did you really?
Yeah, I interned at like a recording studio in Boston, like a shit one. And I want to write ghost write lyrics.
Are you from Boston?
No, I'm from Maine, but then I went, that was like the closest city. So I interned for some guy who was like I'm going to put music producer in quotes.
Yeah.
And I would go get him ice cream sandwiches. Did you actually rap?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a big deal in my high school too. It was like,
hell yeah.
Every time I'd release a song or something, like our local Twitter would be trending and shit. It was like it was fun. It was cool.
What was your rap name?
Just my same name.
Sweet.
Like I'm good at rapping. I hate saying that as a white guy. You know.
That's awesome though. That's cool.
As soon as I hit, but you know, I'd still watch every fucking comedy special. Like,
right.
And then when I hit 17, I was like, okay, I think I can do. Like I own a button down. I think I can do this now.
Right.
I started actually going to open mics, and then I was like, I'm gonna do this. And then I remember all my friends were like applying for colleges.
Right.
And meanwhile, I was like making fake report cards like the last fucking 3 years of high school. Like my parents.
And no one was your parents weren't catching on to this at all?
My parents asked me for one report card in my whole high school.
Are they together?
No, recently separated. I was the second kid, so they just like didn't. So, and then I remember like all my friends had already applied to colleges and shit, and I pulled up, and I figured I was just gonna do what my brother did and go down that same life path.
What did he do?
So he went to like a business school, like a local school that was easy to get into. He had a fun 4 years, got out, became a sales guy, made like close to 200 grand his first year.
Wow. He must have been good at sales, because sales is tough, actually.
Yeah. He became a manager the next year and then just kept growing at that pace. And I remember sitting at my computer, pulling up a college application. And the second I saw the application, I saw my entire life flash before my eyes. I saw everything. I saw going to fucking business school, like becoming a sales guy, becoming a manager, being unhappy, finding a hot girlfriend, having a kid, getting married, dying. And I'm like, I'm going to be my dad. I was like, that's like, I'm just going to have that life. And then I closed it and I said, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to do comedy. And I told my dad, who's like fucking old, like everybody in my family is born in Russia except for me. So they're all like,
oh, I thought you were Italian.
No. I find that very insulting.
Oh, I love Italians. I love Italians. I always am with Italians. My girlfriend's Italian.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I always say that. I always am like with a lot of Italians. I don't know why I thought you were Italian. So you're Russian?
Yeah, Russian.
Oh, that's tough. Because usually they're like, I mean, a lot of places are strict, but I know Russian. Were your parents Russian immigrants?
Yeah. I was first generation, so like even my brother was born over there. I told my dad, I was like, I'm gonna move to New York to do comedy, and he like didn't even look at me. He was like, don't even fucking think about it. Jesus. Like that was it. And I was like, we'll talk about this later.
Right.
And then eventually I hit him with that, like, ambushed him in the car with that, like, it's a man's destiny. Like, I got to do what I got to do, you know? And finally he was like, well, if it's your, you know, if that's your dream, I can't be the person that's going to stop you. I'm surprised he came to that.
That's a young age to move to New York too, 18. I don't think I would have been able to do that.
I don't think I'd let my kids do it.
How'd you even find your first apartment?
That was the one leeway I had, was my grandma lives in Brooklyn. She lives deep in like Russian Brooklyn. It was like fucking an hour outside of the city, but at least I had a room.
Did your parents listen to your podcast?
I think my mom might have listened to an episode.
Did they ask you about the name? Like, what's Young Daddy mean?
I think my mom did. My mom has been to one stand-up show of mine. And,
oh boy.
I went back and like headlined where I'm from. She watched the show and I called her and I was like, so what'd you think? And she goes, you want honestly? And I was like, yeah. And I'm already like laughing because I know. And she goes, I just can't believe it. You talk about anal sex. She goes, this is disgusting. How you talk about the anal sex? You know, this, you can't talk about this. And I just started fucking dying laughing. And that was it. That was her review.
That was the feedback.
Yeah.
You're like, do you remember the first time you had anal sex? I would imagine doing it with the penis is like, because I've done anal sex on people with like my hands and strap-ons, but I have so much respect for the penis because, seriously, because I wouldn't know, I think it'd be so hard because it's like, you're like balancing your body and you're thrusting and you're doing all this fucking shit. And you're trying not to come. Like, that's like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of body strength. So I have a lot of respect for that.
That's the anxiety for men during sex. It's two anxieties. It's, am I going to stay hard?
Right.
And is my dick big enough? Those are the two. So there's the anxiety of like showing her your dick. And the other is like, am I going to come too fast?
Yeah, and also you have to physically support you have to support the penis with the rest of your body for the fucking thrusting.
Yeah, and like when like the first like 3 years I was having sex, like I was still dealing with that. Like I remember I had one time I was gonna have a threesome with these two girls. Like
that's awesome. How old were you?
I had like a few in my life, but that one I was probably like 19 or 20.
That's so cool. I've never done that before.
Really?
No, that's so cool.
Oh my God, it's the best.
Good for you. See, that's a lot of anxiety. I would put, if I was the guy in that, I'd feel a lot of pressure in that too, because then I guess you can get the girls to like interact with each other too, but then like you're like the main motherfucker in there. It's a lot.
The first 2 times that I was like with 2 women, I was just trying to get myself hard and I couldn't. Because of the
pressure.
Yeah. Or like now I'm like, now I gotta impress 2 women with my dick. Like I was really they were like in the room waiting for me and I'm in the bathroom like trying to get hard and being like, come on dude, you can do this, and just no connection happening because I felt so anxious.
And then what happened?
Like, then you just come back and you just work on them, you know? You be a team, you just become one of the girls. Like that's really it, you know?
Pillow fight.
You become a team player. You're like, then what did he say? You know, just start talking shit. But now that I'm older and like, I think a lot of it is just confidence and not worrying about that shit anymore. You know, there's still touches, but it's not enough to ruin.
I had a trick with anal sex where I used to be like, okay, if a girl didn't seem like they were like, that was like something that they were down with, or I used to always say this, I don't know if this is any validity to it, but I used to always be like, you gotta make it feel like it's like the girl one's idea to do it. So I'd always try to like play around their butt. And then if they backed into it at all, I'd be like, I'm going to do butt stuff. But not everybody wants butt stuff. And it's really awkward if you go for it and someone doesn't want it. And that is uncomfortable.
I've definitely had that before where like, even if I like because I love doggy style as a guy.
Yep.
And the asshole's always exposed.
Yeah, it's literally, if it's doggy style, it's extremely exposed.
Yeah, and
what are you supposed to do? Not touch the butt with it exposed like that? Get the fuck out of here.
I love a good asshole. I love it.
Amen, brother.
Totally. I know girls who like didn't even know, like, wait, you can see my asshole back there? And I'm like, yeah, what do you think? You know? So I've definitely had before where like, even if you just put your thumb on a girl's asshole, she just immediately like moves your hand away and you're like, all right, whatever, you know?
Right.
Everybody's got a line to where they're willing to go with anal. Like some will let you put a thumb in and that's it. Some will let just touch it, others won't.
How do you work your way up to penis in the butt?
The times that I've had anal sex, I've like been fucking a girl and then have been like, you know, you start with a thumb on. And then
that's what I tell people. I go, you don't just jump into, I mean, I've only done it with the strap on in the butt with someone like a couple times and it was the same person. So you don't jump into it. I'm like, no, you fucking fucking do other stuff around it. You don't just ram.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories of girls being like, he just jammed 2 fingers in my ass. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. You can't just surprise people like that. Like, it is a constant, like, all right, I'm going to do this. And now you wait. What's the response I'm getting? And then you're like, all right, go a little further. Wait, what's the response I'm getting? I think the hottest, like, time I've ever started anal was this girl was like, I was like 20. She was like 19, smoking hot.
Awesome.
She's like in my grandmother's bed, which is like the one awful detail.
How'd you get her up there? Did she know it was your grandmother's?
What I used to do is like, because my grandma was like is a cruising and boozing ass bitch. Like,
Hell yeah.
She loves a party, so she would just leave constantly.
Right.
So I would take her room and just like hide all the photos of like fucking grandma shit.
Yeah, they're like, why do you have this like embroidered pillowcase? And be like, back off.
Like, why is everything orthopedic in here?
Right. You're like, I just care about comfort.
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's a
Nope.
family apartment, you know, I'm only here temporarily, there for 5 years.
Right, yeah, my grandma, I let her, like, take a room to the side, but pay no mind to it.
Yeah.
And they would buy that it was your room?
I don't know. I never
That's
really asked.
funny.
I never really asked. And I remember this, she was, like, just bent over. I was, like, I had just been fucking her. I just, like, pulled out for a second just to, like not come.
Right.
And I was just like, what is there? Have you ever had a dick in your ass? And she's like still bent over and like looking up like back at me, and she's like, no. And I was like, do you want one? And she just like kind of smiled a little bit, and I was like, oh, it's on, it's fucking happening. And she like, it turned into,
Oh, that's the best.
She was such
incredible.
she was a savage. Like she laid on her stomach while I was in her ass on
incredible.
top of her. And she was going like harder. So I was like grabbing the footboard and using it to like thrust.
Yeah, see, that's a whole fucking. Do you think she was faking it that she hadn't done it before though?
I don't know. It's when like, here's the best people I've ever known sexually. Like I've had sex with a lot of people.
Which you should really be proud of, I feel, because I think that implies people skills. I mean, look, I had this friend that, do you feel happy with the sex, or does it make you feel depressed if you're having it not in a relationship?
I'm good in either. Like if I love being in love. I don't have a problem being monogamous to somebody. Like
you don't get bored?
I do get a little bored, but I think that just comes with the territory.
Right.
Like, what are you gonna? It's like you either have one or the other. Like you're in a relationship with somebody you love and you want to be with, and the sex gets boring.
Yep.
Or you fuck a lot of people and you go to bed alone. It's like at any given time, there's a lot of women I can call and be like, "Do you want to have sex?" And they'd be like, "Sure." But then when they start talking, I don't really want to, I just can't care.
Because I forget who said it, but they're talking about getting a hooker, and they're saying you're paying the person to leave.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily paying for the sex, you're paying to leave, because then you're not pretending to the person to care when you don't care, which isn't fair for them either. You're trying to protect them.
The thing too is like, as I hooked up with, like as a 23-year-old, I'd say the average age I hook up with is like a girl that's like 24.
Yeah.
And I think, and a lot of these women are single and are looking for relationships, and they don't understand why they can't find one, because they're attractive women. They're cool, but usually it's just, they're just not that interesting. In the sense that like they haven't challenged themselves to come up with an opinion, be able to fight you on something, or I think that's a big part of it, because it's like there's a girl in my life who like I'm trying to make things work out with. She's an ex, and the reason I am is like we just have so much fun together that like anytime we're talking, it just always ends in us like laughing really big. Like she's just a great dance partner. You know what I mean? Totally. Like I shoot a joke, she's there to catch it and bounce it back. And
that's huge.
It's perfect.
That's huge.
So that to me is like, it's worth it to be in something like that. And
what do you think the roadblock is that it hasn't been worked out so far?
Sometimes I feel like if you get into one big fight,
yep,
you never really stabilize.
Totally. Or you keep going back to it, and that's fucking... Yeah. Or if something happens, it's like a breach of trust.
Yeah. So it was kind of like that. Like she went on a trip to Israel, and I guess like I was like, the vibe I was getting was like, this is like, we're not in a good place right now. I was like, text her, no responses. Like, you know, when you could feel it when they're like, we're not communicating well.
Yeah. So, and someone's checked out and you're like, so what's going on?
Yeah. And I started getting that feeling like she wants out of this. She's on a trip in fucking Israel, like has terrible cell service, etc. And I'm like, she wants out of this. And I'm like, and I got this intense anxiety from being like...
And then you just picture her like sucking dick on a menorah or something.
1 for each fucking arm. Yeah. No, I never go there with my brain. Like,
that's good.
To me, it's just like, I didn't want that feeling of like, I'm just waiting for the fucking shoe to land. You know what I mean? And I was like, I can't live like that. Like, I'm going to be super anxious. I'm not going to be able to do my shows tonight. I'm going to be fucking like, I'm just going to suck. Like, this is going to really blow. So I said to her, I was like, it seems like you're not saying it, but maybe we should be apart or like break up. She got that text while she was in the middle of the Dead Sea, like on vacation, and was like, what the fuck? Like, she had no idea that was coming. And we never really stabilized after that. Because to her, she was like, how the fuck could you dump me while I'm in the middle of the fucking ocean in a country I don't know?
You're like, you dumped me! Like,
Yeah.
but in your brain. Yeah, but I feel like that's like obviously just like wanting reassurance, and also feeling like, you know, when you like someone, it's easy to feel like insecure about it if you're not hearing back from them. So.
And then after that, it was like really weird. Like, because of that, it hurt her trust in me. So she didn't want to be exclusive. Like, she did, but she would say she wouldn't. So
Basically, you guys were having the same thing, actually. Like, you both were scared, so I'd
spend all my time with her, you know? But like, when I was on the road, I was, like, hooking up with other women. And I said to her, I was like, she said, she's like, when you're on the road, you can get blown by.
Oh, man.
That was
She's
like
awesome.
But all she would do is ask, like, who are you hanging out with tonight? Like, are you going to do it? Like, so it was not good.
Right.
And here's the weird thing is, like, I was always the one pushing, like, let's be exclusive. Like, I don't give a fuck. But because she would say no, like, I don't want that, I'd be on the road. I'd be in, like, Worcester or, like, Boston and, like, bring 2 girls to the hotel and get blown by 2 women. And
that's amazing.
Be like, this is the best night of my life. Like,
right. That's incredible.
Yeah. 2 women just trying to please you for 3 hours. It's like, you can't fucking beat that.
That's amazing. Do you know what? You're going to make every guy's going to want to be a comedian now.
It's not a bad, if you want to get laid, it's like the best fucking.
If you're a good looking straight guy. For straight women, I would think that they've said that it's like really hard. And then I don't really get approached after shows, except for there is one demo that I've noticed. It's usually like married women in their 40s and 50s. Every now and then will come up and be like, I wish I experimented in college.
Yeah,
that's the line. And then I just play dumb and I'm like, oh yeah, college is crazy.
I think for straight female comics, it actually kind of hurts because guys aren't going to approach you after shows because, like, you're in the position of power there. I also think female comics like to say, like, men don't like funny women. And I think that's complete bullshit.
I think that's totally not true too, because I'm very attracted to femininity. Like, that's what I don't see having a sense of humor as a masculine act.
I will only date a funny woman. That's the only person I'll date. You will never catch me dating a woman who's not funny. It's just not going to happen. So it's like, I can't, it doesn't make sense to me when women say, or female comics say, like, men don't like women that are funny. It's like, I don't think there's any, I couldn't imagine myself being around somebody who's not fucking funny. It's like,
what kind of psychopath wouldn't like someone that's like, I could not imagine any straight man I've ever met, if a girl says something that's funny, being like, haha, I don't like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can you imagine, like, guys sitting around and be like, what's wrong with her? Like, she's too hilarious.
Yeah, she's too funny. She's hate that shit.
Yeah, she makes me laugh all the fucking time.
How are you on first date?
I actually think that I'm one of the best first dates you can have if you're like a 20-something-year-old chick and you're getting into, like, online dating.
Wow.
Like, I really do believe that because
why online dating? You mean because you're good at transitioning it from internet to in person?
Well, I go on, like, dates wise, I go on like 3 dates a year. I used to go on a lot of dates.
Right.
Now it's more just like you Instagram message somebody or they message you and then you guys meet up. Thing honestly is, like, when I go meet somebody on a date, like, I've had enough sex in my life that, like, if I don't fuck you, like, I don't care. I really don't care. It'd be nice, but I don't give a shit. So it's like, to me, it's like, let's see where life goes. Like, let's have fun. You know, let's grab a drink. Let's do whatever. Like, let's grab a fucking coffee and go to the park. Like, let's just see if we like each other.
Oh, a coffee in the park is great, too, because you don't want to have to commit to a whole dinner or a whole thing.
I don't think there's ever unless you're like some fucking hedge fund douche, I don't think there's any reason to ever go on dinner dates with somebody you're not dating. No fucking point. Is that, for one, you're going to be, I used to, like, when I was, like, first moved to New York, I was making money under the table as, like, a waiter, and we were making insane money. I would use dates as an excuse to be like, let's go to this fucking 4-star restaurant. Like, I was an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, picking up $300 dinner checks as an 18-year-old. Like, I was a fucking moron.
Right.
With women that I see once or twice. So, but that was, like, what I thought I needed to do. Now it's like, no, what I'm offering you is my personality.
Right.
We meet up. If we talk, like, I'm a fucking good talker. Like, you're going to have a good time.
I'm a pro. Right. You think I can't put on a show for 45 to 90 minutes one-on-one where the expectations aren't as high, I got this.
I've done fucking hookah lounges in front of 4 people and made them laugh. You think I can't do this? What are you, fucking nuts? So that's why you get a coffee, go to the park, and just like talk shit. And that to me is like, that's a fun part of being alive. It's a fun.
What point in the relationship does the real you start to really emerge?
Well, that's the thing is from the minute you never. It's just like it never comes out.
It never comes out.
The second I meet somebody, it's nothing but who I am.
Oh, that's good. So you don't, because I've wasted so much time pretending that I do stuff that I don't do, where I'll be like even like recycling. Like I just started recycling. I've pretended I've recycled. I literally have bought a recycling thing to have at my apartment. So if someone comes over, they can check that off, and I've like scuffed it up to look used.
Why would you do that? That's fucking. Here's the problem. If you act like who you're not when you're meeting somebody, you're only hurting yourself in the long term.
Totally. And it's not fair to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, fuck them. But like, just to you even, it's like, you're just screwing yourself over because they're not going to fall for you. You're going to have discrepancies. There's going to be things that aren't lining up. So it's like, I would much rather say some shit on a date that's going to make you go like, oh, I hated that, and leave. And I've had that happen before where a girl's
someone's left a date?
One time I was like walking with a girl to a party. We'd been on like one date before. It was fine. And then we were walking and I started like ranting about some issue that she brought up, and she like stopped and was like, I don't like what you're saying. And I was like, well, that's how I feel. And she was like, she was like, well, I don't think I want to go with you now. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, that's fine.
Right.
And then I shook hands with her. I texted her, like, hope you get home safe. And that was the end of it. Like, because I'd much rather live that moment and you go, I don't like what you are, than deal with it subconsciously for the next 2 fucking years.
You're 100% right, because it's wasting her time and your time. But what were you saying?
I can't remember. I think it was like some shit about the wage gap or something. I don't know. Just some shit like that.
I'm for it.
Yeah. Some shit like that. I was probably on one of my rants like, yeah, but you also take half of my fucking dollar because I pay for everything. So I should be the one with the beef here, like some shit like that. But I try not to impress women on dates. I kind of go the other way where I try to like bother them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I'm like, yeah. I mean, I voted for Trump, and I'm gonna vote again. Like, even though I didn't, just to like see how they're gonna react.
Oh God, digging yourself out of that in New York City.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
But that's where comedy comes from. I like, as soon as you feel like this might go bad, that's
right.
Fun.
Yeah, that's like the conversation Olympics in New York. If you can say that, make them think that you voted for Trump, and then talk your way out of that. I guess it's good to not be because being a people pleaser will fuck you over in relationships too. Because then you resent them.
Though. Yeah, I think you're right. That's really funny. This conversation Olympics.
Yeah, conversation Olympics. If you say you voted for Trump in New York and then can get out of that, you're like, whoa, look at his fucking like thing. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple first date questions.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's see what they had. I was surprised by some. Do you have first date questions that you usually? Okay, these are ones for straight guys, that geared towards straight guys. Do you have like a set list when you go on a date?
No, I don't. There's maybe like 1 or 2 questions that come up where I'm just like, I'm like, what did you expect me to be like? And what am I like to you? Like, how do I come off? And then if you had to describe me in 3 words based on our conversation part, what would they be?
You'll ask them that after the date?
Yeah. Because like, it's just interesting to me because I also feel like when you meet somebody, a lot of times you're meeting people online first.
Right.
And you're not really seeing what they're like, and you're going to have all these assumptions when you walk in. Like, I think a lot of women meet me on dates, and they'll be like, I'm expecting this guy to be a total fucking asshole. I'm expecting a complete fuckboy, and I'm just not that. Like,
What is a fuckboy? What's a fuck? I read.
Yeah, I got a fucking stack of books I haven't touched,
Oh, good for you. Yeah, but I own them.
I own them. That's right.
What is a fuckboy exactly? People always say the word. I understand it's a boy that you're just supposed to have sex with.
Here's like, I get a ton of emails about this on my show where they're like, is this guy a fuckboy? It's like, what if women like to say the word fuckboy to describe a guy who's like a bachelor to the point where it's like he's fucked up and he only wants to have sex,
and he's not upfront about it?
Yeah, or not even that, because a lot of times you can like see it, like they look like me, but like,
Right.
you know what I mean? But what really a fuckboy is, it's a guy who doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. Like that's what it is. It's like the
Which is
guy.
what it is.
Yeah, the guy will sleep with you because why wouldn't he? But then when you want to get serious, he doesn't want to, and it's like they take it as like he's hesitant. It's like no, he's just not into you like that.
Right.
So I think a lot of young women will be like, will mix up the two and be like, oh, he's not into me. Because like I'm sure that guy, no matter how many people he has sex with, he'd love to be in love.
Sure. Who wouldn't want that oxytocin? Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. He did not find it with you. So
Right.
like, what do you want? What do you want him to do? Like, be? I think just so many more straight women are willing to be in a relationship where they're not in love with the person. Like,
Yeah, I wonder
just to
why
be in
that
a relationship.
is.
I think it's because like primitively, like I also notice like if women are going to get out of a relationship, a lot of the times they have a backup.
Oh, I'm actually guilty of that too. I'm
Are you?
guilty of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have your life
Yeah.
raft ready. You'll have the new boat. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yep.
you guys, you're the opposite of men. You guys are like, I'd much rather be on a new boat than have to be in that water.
Right.
You know, with us, we're like when men break up, we're like, I'm jumping off this boat into that water, and I'm not getting on another boat for a fucking while.
Yeah, I wish I was a little bit more like that because I think when you jump on the new boat, you forget it's a new boat. You start bringing up old boat shit. Like you've got like you think you brought too much stuff on. You didn't take the time to learn how to like.
You're like the nipples are different on this boat.
Yeah, exactly. Why is this boat only 4 speeds? I wanted it to go faster.
Yeah, but why do you think you do that?
I don't know. I was single for like a long time. I was single for like 4 years when I first moved to New York. And then I think it's because
when I think of straight women, I think it's because like traditionally and like primitively, they think of men as like security and provider.
Right.
So they don't want to do without that.
I would say there is an idea of security in it, which is interesting too in New York also, because New Yorkers are usually so independent too.
Yeah.
I think it is when I would be doing comedy and be gone a lot, I would just be like used to having that person there that was like the person outside of entertainment that I could really like bounce stuff back and forth with.
Yeah.
So I think but also I think it's an addicty thing where it's like I love that high of first meeting someone and then trying to win them over and not paying attention to if it was a good fit, but just trying to win them over and then boom, boom, you're in a relationship.
Right. Because I mean, what's more exciting than that of being like, that was awesome. Like I'm going to text her. Is she going to respond? Is she looking at my Instagram story? Like,
oh, it's the highest of the highs.
Yeah. That's as good as your relationship is going to get. You know? Yeah. It's right then.
Right. That's the peak. And then after that, real life sets in. Have you had any women stalkers?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've had, the scary thing is like, there's definitely been a few that they'll show up to like 8 shows.
Oh boy.
And they just keep showing up and you're just in the middle of a joke and all of a sudden you just see that girl in the fucking middle. And you're like, oh no. And there was this one girl I just like, you know, men when we swipe on fucking dating apps, we're just like hitting yes.
Oh, I did that too. I would swipe, and then go back and
see what you catch and throw out what you don't want. So
and I would get offended at some of the people that matched with me. I'm like, you think what the fuck?
I know, right? Like you'd be like, in what world? In what world? Like, be honest with yourself.
Right. Like, I'm just doing the same thing as you, you fucking idiot. Like,
yeah. So that's definitely happened before where you just see that face in the eye. And like this one girl, I matched with her on Bumble on accident. She messaged me like 30 times. Didn't respond. She messaged me on Instagram. I didn't respond. Then like 3 months later, she just started showing up to every show. And I was like, oh no. And then she would like not say anything, but she would stand at like a different part of the restaurant.
She's a creeper.
Yeah, for sure. And would like try to send over drinks and shit. And like the waiter came over once. I was just like, that girl wants to buy you a drink. I was like, I'm good. Like, don't do me anything.
And you didn't go up and talk to her?
No, because like that's just like creepy behavior. That's
very creepy behavior.
Yeah, like there's a difference. Like I have fans that will legitimately show up to like 2 shows a month just to like, and they'll bring friends, and they'll be like, this guy's like, look at this, he's working on new shit. Is this funny? Like, that's awesome.
That's the nicest thing in the world. Like the level of appreciation for that when someone is like interested in not just the finished product of what you're doing, but the process of it.
Right. Like they want to hear the new.
And that's like a vulnerability too. Like if someone, I've seen people that have come to more than one show and I'll say, Like, I'm like, I'm actually not, I don't know how much it's only much new stuff I'll have, but I'll have some, and
Right.
they don't really care. But
Right.
that is that means the world.
I've only ever had that like once where a girl came to another show and she was like, I heard like a good amount of these jokes before. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, this shit takes time. Like, I don't know what you expected. I'm not going to have a new hour in fucking 3 months.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because I feel self-conscious about it, but then if someone did point it out, I'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah. And then you also find people that are like, they'll literally just be like, I just like that joke so much. I like seeing other people laugh at it, or like, I still laugh at it. Or like, I like the new way you said this. And it's like, a lot of it too is like on my podcast is just me. I'm just ranting for fucking, in like an hour a week. And
Woo!
It's like, it's so half-baked, the shit I'm talking about. But if they're willing to listen to that,
totally,
they'll listen to the jokes that like have even more work to them.
How was podcasting when you started it? Like when you started doing it, did you enjoy it the same amount as comedy, or how did it feel different?
I had an old podcast back in the day where I would do like serious interviews with comedians, and it was I guess it was just 19-year-old me trying to be Mark Maron.
Totally.
It was just a waste of everyone's time. Like, no,
because you got to do that to get to the other thing, and taking initiative like that at 19. Because also, if you hadn't done that, then maybe you would have waited till you were like 30, and who would have known about? You know what I mean?
I honestly I learned a ton doing those podcasts, and so many comedians were nice enough. Like, I was an open micer, and like guys like Mark Normand and like Cellar guys would all take the time to be like, yeah, I'll chat with you for an hour, and like. We'd have great conversations. I'd learn a shit ton about comedy. I'd learn stuff about life just by talking to people older than me.
Totally.
And, like, I made friends doing that even to this day I'm friends with, like, all these years later. And I think that's really important. And then I went on this big podcast, and they gave me, like, a huge following indirectly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, our episode, like, went viral.
That's awesome.
And I had already stopped doing my old podcast, and I realized, I was like, okay, and Instagram tells you to be like, 10,000 people are looking at your profile. And so I was like, okay, I need to give them something to hook into.
Right,
like,
totally.
If people come to your profile and they don't see something they can actively listen to and hear you on, what's the point of them to stay? So
totally.
So I was with a friend of mine. I was like, let's just start a podcast together right now. And we started Young Daddy. And I was like, I came up with a name and all that shit. I was like, you be like my, you'll be the other Mike. Like, let's fucking do this. Like, we'll have fun. And then over a little while, like our friendship was just completely sliding off. Yeah,
it's really tough. Working with someone that you're friends with first can be really hard too.
Brutal.
And it's really tough because it's also, I don't know if you had this, but if someone that you're friends with, you might put up with stuff that business-wise isn't the best for you, but you're like, oh, it's my friend.
Sure. Yeah.
And then that starts to really like build up.
Yeah, there was 1,000,001 problems like with us working together, and also like it wasn't a great friendship to begin with.
Right.
But it was one of those like friendships in comedy where you're like, we're young comics, like we have each other to talk shit to, but neither of us are really making each other better or like.
Totally.
So it was
the power of talking shit that can make it's like good sex in a relationship. You have good sex with someone, it can distract from other stuff. You have good talk shit with a friend that can distract from other things too.
Yeah. So we were producing a show together. We were doing the podcast together. And then I was like, listen, man, like, I just don't want to like be friends and have to deal with this energy anymore. Like
good for you.
Yeah. And I was like, it was like a breakup. It was like, I spent a lot of time with you, but like, I don't want to like work together and stuff. It was just too, like, every little thing would be like, okay, can we record at 8? And it's like, no, I can't do it till 10.
Right.
You have to come to me. And it's like, why do I have to come to you again? Like all this shit.
Yeah, give me something to work with. How if you give me nothing to work with, is that not supposed to affect the friendship too?
Yeah. So I literally just deleted all the old episodes and just took it over as being like, I'm going to have on guests and go solo. And then over time, I started going more and more solo. And then I realized like, I don't like that. I realized like, that's why Bill Burr does it that way. It's like,
right.
I don't want to schedule with anybody. I don't want to deal with anybody. Unless like the only people who do my podcast are like friends of mine who are funny and I like talking to, and there's an unlimited amount of times they can come on. Like I'll have somebody on fucking 4 times, 5. Like I don't care. Just like, are we gonna have fun together? Are you one of my people?
Totally.
And if not, I'd rather just be in my underwear at 4 a.m. and fucking knock this out and not have to deal with anybody. Because like you called me today, right? You called me at 1 and to talk about doing this at 2.
Right.
I was gonna sleep till 4.
Woo!
So like. You know what I mean?
Woo!
Like you got to make
Right.
adjustments.
Right.
So.
Yeah, working for other people. Yeah, 100%. I've done a couple solo ones, and it was fun. It was fun. One thing that's nice about doing with Corona is it's also just like nice to like see people, and it gives you an agency to ask. Because I interviewed a friend of mine yesterday that I've known for a while. That's the therapist, and I was like, I've never like asked her like beginning questions because I met her in another later context too.
Right.
I'll send you, because I'm gonna remember what she said about narcissism, but I think you might find it interesting.
Oh yeah, send it to me.
Because I don't think we're narcissists based on what she said.
We have tendencies.
Tendencies.
Yeah.
I'll take a tendency.
Yeah, we'll take a tendency.
I'll take a tendency. A tendency.
That's not a big fucking deal, you know.
Yeah,
but I'm jealous of you because I picture you as like wake up at 8 a.m. and you're already doing shit.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But like
nah.
the fact that you even got me to do a Zoom call, like, because I've thought about it on my podcast, I'm like, I should like just start Zooming people, and then I'm like,
yeah,
and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm too lazy to do even the slightest change from what I do.
Well, putting out, you know what it is? Also, putting something out regularly, doing your own thing, it shows that you're not lazy. It's just figuring out like what the actual like priority is too. Because like even with like exercise, because I would keep being like, I'm not exercising. My friend was like, well, if you actually really were prioritizing it, then you would do it. Maybe you just don't really want to do it right now.
Right.
Even though I bought a boxing bag.
Oh, did you?
I bought a virtual Fight Club boxing bag, which is so expensive. It comes, it's like the Peloton bike of ones.
Right.
And I used it once.
See, me and my roommate, so he trains MMA, and then I've done like a lot of boxing training, like personal training, because my friend is a professional fighter. So like he was just training me like 4 days a week for a while.
That's awesome.
But now we go to the park and we have like pads and everything, and I train him and my brother.
That's awesome.
And like we'll even spar in the park, like mouthpieces, like light sparring, and
that's fucking awesome.
And then he ordered a Peloton that we have sitting in my fucking living room right now.
Yeah.
Just to have it for a month and then return it.
Yeah.
On the last day. And then he called them up and was like, hey, I want to return this. And they're like, we're not doing any pickups. So you just got to keep that for a while.
Like, all right.
Yeah. So,
I can hold on to it.
And I got a road bike coming in the next like 2 days.
Yeah, I ordered rollerblades too. Let me ask you this last question. What do you when you first reach out to people online, do you have an opening line? Because I think that's the hardest thing with online stuff, figuring out what to say first.
I don't. To me, the thought of like repeating shit, like because it works on people, is just gross.
Yeah, it doesn't work either. I tried.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
My brother, for example, like everything he messages women on, and my brother like goes on a lot of fucking dates, but like everything he messages is like copy pasted. Like I sent this to 10 different people.
Well, you're fishing. You're trying to throw out the bait.
Yeah, but see, that's it. That's about that's deciding what kind of process you want to have. Is the process just getting to hooking up with somebody and having sex, or is it trying to have an experience in a moment with someone? And to me, every life should be lived that way.
Saying you want an experience or a moment is a much better way to get a girl than I mean that. If you say a moment to a woman, they're gonna be like, I want a moment. Like who doesn't want a moment?
I'm surprised I've never used that.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I wonder if they would be like, I don't know. After maybe not first date, but second or third date, be like, I love like having these moments with you. It's a good subtle way to say I don't want a relationship too. Be like,
but that's funny. Like, are we getting serious? Like, we're just having our moments. Like, that's what. Enjoy them. Enjoy the moment, babe.
The moment.
Like, yeah, fucking. To me, life is just all about as much as you can of it being sporadic and finding experiences and making memories with people. And if the doing stuff that's like end goal oriented, like I want to fuck this girl, or like to me, there's just no interest in that. There's
good for you.
There's just there's nothing exciting about that. It's about, I'd rather it not work and have fun finding that out, than fucking you and being like, that was a waste of my time. Right.
Or being like, check.
Yeah. What's the point? What's the fuck point? Like, your security and validation of yourself is to be high enough to where it doesn't matter. Right. Like, if somebody doesn't want to bang you, like, that's their loss. Like, who cares? Totally.
That's the way you have to think about it. And it's usually easier to see if you're not the person, to be like my friend is such a catch. She's just great.
Yeah.
Has gotten rejected by people that are 100% losers. Like, she's dated total fucking losers. Like this one guy she was with, he just sucked.
Right.
And he was like a part-time improv instructor that like sucked at improv. Like he was awful.
Yeah, we hate improv people so
Not
much.
cute. Like he sucks. Like she's just great. And then he like was kind of blowing her off. And I'm like, no, but he sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks. So don't, but it's easier as the out. And then, but then they'd be like, well, then why doesn't he want to be with me though? If I'm so great and he sucks, then I can't even get him. You're like,
because she wants it.
yeah.
Like, so much of it is just energy of like, who's gonna look more like they need this.
Right.
That person will just lose.
Right. And he might suck so bad, he doesn't even realize you're great because he's not in that.
Yeah. If she just started acting like a bad bitch that wasn't interested in guys,
True.
that would
True.
like completely change men wanting her. There's nothing we want more than a girl who like doesn't seem that interested.
Yeah, I get that too. I get that too. And then you're like, hey, wait a minute. Well, thank you for talking to me too. And where can people find you? Where can people find Young Daddy? YUNG.
I got an Instagram, LEVFER. I put out some wild tweets sometimes. Luckily, I don't have a job. So,
have you gotten in trouble?
There's nobody who can like get me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I do everything on my own. Like I do a little bit of acting shit, but it's like to me, like between me and you, most acting I can't fucking stand.
Oh, I feel the same way. I totally feel the same way. I feel it makes me so stressed out getting acting auditions too. And then I was doing one and I was like, why am I doing this? Even if I get the thing, I don't like to do this.
Yeah, I'm literally blowing off at this moment an audition
totally
that I'm supposed to be doing because
actually, me too.
I'm like, I don't want to be on that fucking show. I don't want to do it. Like unless what I always wanted to do is like, and I've been on a TV show and it was like really, I learned a lot and it was cool, but like
great experience.
I could live without that $5,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I can live without it. I like doing my podcast. I can make enough doing that and comedy to live and just want to keep doing stand-up and touring doing stand-up. And then when I'm like, I want to make this movie, I just want to make it.
Totally. Because also like the art form of acting, I'm like, I have a respect for that. And I'm telling you, I don't have the drive for it enough to try to pretend that I can do it. And that's like disrespectful to what it is. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing. And also like acting work sucks.
It sucks.
Like the best part of it, like being an actor is like the fact that you get to tell people like, I'm an actor. Like you're sitting in a trailer for fucking 12 hours a day. It's just, it's not fun. I'd
rather sit in the trailer like 85% of the time than be out on the set.
Oh,
if it's just me being me, great, that's fine. That's fine. But me with the acting, because I like really care how I'm doing and I want to do well for the other people and I care so much about the thing. Then when I watch the finished product, I'm like so stiff and weird. And that's if I get the thing. If it's a audition, then you're like paying like fucking. It's just.
Yeah, and I hate doing self-tape, so it's like almost impossible to like. I'd much rather go in front of you, like and do that. Like to me, sitting in my house and having somebody read me lines while I bomb a self-tape is just like I hate every part of it. You know?
So your neighbor thinks. The other day I had an audition for like it was like screaming at my sister, and then there was one where I think I was pretending I was like in Star Trek. So now everyone's home all the time. I'm like, my neighbors must think I'm fucking nuts.
Yeah, I've had that too. Where I had like a domestic yelling scene, and like I was like, they're gonna call the cop. Like I'm doing a good job. They're gonna call the cop.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, you're like, so you fucking support abusers? Is that what your problem is? Okay, sorry. So I cut you off. So where can people find you online? Twitter and Instagram?
Yeah, just LEVFER online. Nobody's touring, so you're not going to see that. And I have a podcast called Young Daddy, which you were supposed to be on like the week that all this shit happened.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was in New York that weekend and I left.
Yeah.
That was Corona weekend. Yep, I was in New York and I started being like, shit. And so I left 2 days early. Yeah. Get
the fuck out. So, but, in 4 years when this is all over, you're definitely going to be on it.
Appreciate it. Do you like it when girls call you daddy?
In bed sometimes.
Yeah. Do you not like it if it feels like they're just saying it because they think that's what you want to hear? Well,
what the name actually came from was I was getting so many fucking Instagram DMs just from like random girls, and like a fifth of them they'd be like, "Hey, daddy," and I was like, "All right,
that's great."
Like they gave it to me, so then I was like, "How do I make this stupid and like not serious?"
That's the way you want to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
I always think that that's fun. The only problem with if someone's calling you daddy, then it's also implied you're supposed to take care of them in other areas too. So it's
Yeah.
like, gotta be just the sex. Then out of the bedroom, I can be like the nephew or something.
Well, I give people a hard time. Like, I had a girl message me the other day. She was like, "Do you have like an OnlyFans?" Like, and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I have an account. You should subscribe to it." And I was like, "Why would I do that?"
Right.
Like, I'll just if you tell me something stupid, like I want you to give me money and take care of me. I'm like, I'm gonna treat that question with how it should be treated. You know, like
Is it like for sex only thing?
no, it's like OnlyFans it's gonna be the biggest business of the next 2 years now because of all this shit. Because it's just people sell their nudes. It's like having a Patreon, but they unlock just pictures of you naked. I'm amazed you don't know about this.
No.
Every time I go on Twitter, I like almost sponsor some women.
Really?
Yeah, because
They use our faces in the picture?
oh yeah, it's like
That's
people
fucking
you know will do it. Like I know like college students who sell their like private Snapchats and
yeah,
shit.
you gotta not put your face in the picture.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think we're gonna come to a point in the next
People
few
don't care.
years. Yeah, everybody's taking nudes. Like everybody's sending nudes.
I
Like,
hope so because it should be destigmatized, but also like my friend Justin that I always will come tour with me if I can bring someone on the road.
yeah,
Oh wait, I don't want to blow up I'll be bad his name. My friend,
yeah,
if someone sends him a nude on Snapchat because they think it's gonna go away, I would take a picture of it and then text it to him so he could still have it on his phone.
yeah.
So it's not the guy's gonna find a way to get the picture.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's like I don't know. I never do that because I try to like. I think most women though, I'm a real Snapchat whore. Like it hits 2, 3 in the morning. Like I'm gonna send a dick pic to 12 people and just see who's up, you know. And like, and usually if I'm like sexting somebody and I screenshot, they're not gonna give a shit,
right.
because like I'm very upfront about what I am. You know what I mean? So but I feel like you shouldn't if the person doesn't think you will. It's like either screenshot it and let them know you're screenshotting it.
Right. Yeah, that's shady. That is shady
Yeah, and
for
just
sure.
own it, or just
Right.
or just don't.
Right. Yeah. But if you're gonna put the fucking picture out there with your face in it,
yeah,
don't ever think that it's not gonna be saved.
yeah, just don't be surprised.
Just don't be surprised. You did it. God bless you, but don't be
One
surprised.
time I got this like crazy nude from this girl, and I was sitting with my roommate. This is how good of a guy my roommate is. Is
Good
I get it and I show it to him, and I'm like, look at this, and he's like, I feel like you shouldn't have shown me that. He's like, that she doesn't know you're showing me that. Like that's her privacy. I was like, now I feel like a fucking dick.
Yeah.
He's like, you just ruined my time.
Right. You're like,
Still hard, but
fuck, man.
yeah.
Gotta go do something. Now I gotta go feel like I have to go do something good.
Yeah.
Holy.
This selfish piece of shit was
Right.
volunteering at homeless shelters
Oh,
during coronavirus.
really?
What a selfish piece of shit.
Why is he such a good person?
I know, putting me at risk like that. You know.
Monster. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. I'm gonna hit this stop.
Yeah, anytime.
That was my conversation with Lev. Check out his podcast, Young Daddy. As always, you can email me at emmasbunker@gmail.com. Any questions for guests that I've had on before, or people you want to see me talk to, things you want me to go off on, really, whatever, get in touch with me, emmasbunker@gmail.com for all your audio engineering needs. Check out my man, Chris Thomas at Chris Thomas Photography.com, and Mike Levin is helping me out with all the video. Go to my YouTube, and I got videos of all this stuff. Pretty cool. Little graphics, Yeah, thank you guys. This has been another episode. I appreciate your time. Here's the outro. Thank you.